possible, and it's going to obviously focus on the Latino vote in the 2016 election. First graph. This is a graph that depicts the growth of the Latino population of the United States between 1980 and 2014, when the last reliable census data are available. We can see that this growth has been meteoric, from close to 15 million Latinos in 1980 to over 55 million Latinos in 2014, from 6.5% of the overall population to nearly 18% of the population today. The Census Bureau projects that by 2050, Latinos will comprise about 1 in every 3 Americans. That is quite impressive. Now, let's look at the political impact. These red line here shows you the number of eligible Latino voters. I am projecting that in this election there will be 28 million eligible Latino voters, but that only 16 million will register and some 13 million will vote. So we're looking at a voting population that has increased from 4 million back in 1992 all the way up to 13 million today, and that means a very important role in national politics. Percentage of overall voters. I think what you'll probably want to focus on is this green line here. We are projecting that in this election, and I think this may be an underestimate, about 10% of all votes cast that are going to be cast in November of 2016 are going to be Latino votes. And that has increased meteorically from 1992, when it was less than 4%. So demographic increase has translated into a presence at the ballot box, which is critical, and I'm going to show you how critical that is. The electorate. Now, as all of you know, the United States has a system whereby we really have state elections rather than national elections, and the Latino electorate, that is those who are citizens, 18 years of age and older, and eligible to vote, are highly concentrated in these 9 states. You can see that California alone has almost 27% of eligible Latino voters, just in one state. Throw in Texas, you have about 45–46% of all eligible voters are in 2 states. That's important to take note of for the simple reason that we know the way these states are going to vote in this next election. California is going to go Democratic. Obama carried California by 23% in 2012. There is no reason to think that Mr. Trump even has a chance in California. We'll go out on a limb on that one. And we can also say with pretty much certainty that Texas is going to go Republican. I'd say that in about 3 more presidential election cycles, with the growth of the Hispanic vote there, that may not be such a given. The point being here, the Latino vote is concentrated in these 2 states, and these are not going to be contested. Really, we know which way they're going to go. So 45% of Latinos are in states that are going to contribute to particular outcomes. Florida, another story. I'm going to devote the last part of this presentation on Florida and show you why Florida is going to be critical to this election, and why the Latino vote is the probably most critical swing vote in the state. We're going to get to that later on. New York, Arizona, you can see the numbers here. They're pretty clear. 9 states, 80% of all Latino voters. So when we look at Latinos as a national presence, we're really looking at presence in specific states of the United States. Well, that was the good news. Here's the bad news. The good news that we have continual growth over time. The bad news is that Latinos have the lowest voter participation rate of any major race and ethnic group in the United States, and that's been the case since 1992. 48% of eligible Latino voters have gone to the polls nationally, 1992, all the way up to 2012. This is a flat line. Nothing has changed. And so been exerted because of demographic increase, but imagine if Latinos voted at the same rate as non-Hispanic blacks and non-Hispanic whites. 2/3 non-Hispanic blacks, non-Hispanic whites, who were eligible to vote, voted in the election of 2012, only 48% of Latinos. Something's wrong. Why don't Latinos vote? Here's why. It's not that they don't vote, it's that they don't register to vote. Every major institution throws up their hands and says Latinos don't vote. We were the first one to publish a report with CNN and Espanol, which pointed out that voting was not the problem, registration was the problem. We hear about voter registration drives over and again. Yet, only 58% of eligible Latino voters were registered in 1992. That has not changed one iota, all the way up through 2012. So this is the lowest voter registration rate of any of the major racial and ethnic groups. Let's look at non-Hispanic blacks and non-Hispanic whites. Nearly 3/4 register to vote. Latinos don't register to vote. Why not? Mysterious question. Not revealed by the data that I examine, which are government statistics, but I think that there's generally been a failure of voter registration drives despite the enormous publicity that they have received in the media. We can talk about this later. Those were national level statistics. These data show registration rates by different states. Now, you'll notice that Virginia, which has a very small Latino population, only about 3% of the electorate, had a voter registration rate that was analogous to those of non-Hispanic whites and blacks. But let's focus on Florida, because this is the big enchilada here. 72% of Latinos in Florida were registered to vote in 2012, and I am projecting that 75 or more percent will be registered to vote in 2016, and that is why Florida is so critical, and that's why the Hispanic vote is so critical. Again, we'll get to that. So the national level of registration at 58% does not hold true in particular states. Texas, California, ironically, the biggest states with the biggest Latino populations have some of the lowest and below the national average level of voter registration. Let's turn to Florida. You can read the narrative, or you can listen to me talk about it. Look, Florida and its 29 electoral votes are going to be the key to this election. And as written on the board, conventional wisdom has it that there's not a Republican candidate in the world, I don't care who it is, who can win the presidency without winning Florida. And no Republican, or Democrat for that matter, can win Florida without winning a substantial share of the Latino vote, and I'm going to show you why. Obama carried the state by a sliver in 2012, less than 1%. Latinos, according to exit polls, voted 60% for Obama, 40% for Romney. The key to winning Florida may be the Latino vote, and it's highly unlikely that Mr. Trump, with his Make America White Again routine, will be able to carry Latinos for obvious reasons. All right, let's look at Florida. Let's look at the increasing Latino population of Florida. Now, 1/4 of all Floridians are Latino. This is not voters. This is the overall population. Doubling as a percentage from 1990 in the last 25 years. This is going to continue to increase, by the way. This is the reconquest, the reconquista, for those of you who speak Spanish, of Florida quite clearly. The electorate increased enormously as well. 19% of all potential voters in the state of Florida as of 2014 were Latino, having grown enormously from 1990. All right, so Latinos have arrived. Registration rates, as we spoke about before, very high in comparative perspective to other states. So Latinos in Florida vote. We're projecting, and I said this before, 75, 76% of Latinos will be registered to vote in the state of Florida, unlike is the case in many of the other states that we have seen. Nearly 2/3 of eligible Latinos will cast their ballots in the 2016 election. You see how that has increased. Every electoral cycle, a greater percentage of Latinos are participating, and we certainly expect that to be the case in this election. I am projecting, based on statistical models that I've developed, that the Latino vote will be about 20% of all ballots cast in Florida in November of 2016. Notice how the Latino vote has increased. Okay? Constantly. And it's going to keep increasing as well. All right. Who are these Latinos anyways? Not all Latinos are the same, meaning they come from different national origins, and Florida has always been identified with the Cuban vote. And Cubans have always been very conservative and always supported, or at least did, support Republican candidates. But look what has happened to Florida. There's been a demographic transformation in the national composition of the Florida electorate. Cubans back in 1990 were close to half of all voters. They're now less than, or part of the electorate, they're now 30%. Puerto Ricans are about just as many Puerto Rican voters in Florida as there are Cuban voters. This is extraordinarily important, as we'll see in a moment. Mexican voters are the third, largest group in the state. Then there is an eclectic mixture of different nationalities, which if I put them all, this graph would be so convoluted we wouldn't even be able to understand any of it. Now, let's look at Cubans, the traditional bastion of Republican voters in Florida. Boy, have Cubans changed, because there's been a generational shift. Now, according to exit poll data, back in 2000, 25% of Florida Cubans voted for Gore in the stolen election of 2000. All right? 48% voted Democratic in 2012. This is a titanic shift in political sentiments, and we're going to see it manifest in other data momentarily here. So the Cuban vote, 30% of the electorate or actual voters in Florida, moving Democratic very clearly because of generational change. Younger Cubans don't have the same political attitudes that their parents and grandparents had. They're less likely to vote Republican, and I would suspect that in 2012 you're going to see more than half of the Cuban vote go Democratic, maybe substantially more. According to exit polls, if Cubans voted 48% Democratic, look at all of the other groups heavily favoring Obama in 2012. This is in the state of Florida only. And I think we can surmise and project that support for the Democratic candidate because of the anti-immigrant policies of Mr. Trump is going to be even greater than this. Latinos are going to break a lot more than 60-40 for the Democratic candidate. And that is going to make it nearly impossible for Mr. Trump to carry the state of Florida or to win the presidency. You've heard that here. We have data from the Florida Secretary of State on political party registration rates. This is scientific data. These are actual registered voters. Now, let's look at our Republicans. Back in 2006, when data on race and ethnicity was collected in Florida, 37% of all registered voters, Latino voters, were Republicans. Look where that's gone as of 2014. Registered Republican voters among Latinos have gone down. Registered Democratic voters have gone up, but what's really the key thing is the increase in independents. In other words, we look at voter registration lists, and it's no longer a Republican state for Latinos. That's it. I was told to keep this brief, to the point. We could talk about other states.